Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Now I know a lot of you have enjoyed my popover video and it is truly amazing. And several subscribers have written to me and asked me, could I make a gluten-free popover? And I was never able to really get one that I really liked. And then a special subscriber, Beverly, and her daughter asked me really nicely, pretty please, Chef Sokol, could you please make my daughter a gluten-free popover? Well, Beverly, this is for you and your daughter, and I actually think I came up with one. It's not exactly like the other one, but it's pretty darn close. So I think you're gonna be real happy. So before we get started, I'd like everybody to click that notification button so you can become a subscriber and see all my videos and tips because they're really amazing and I do a lot of teaching. All right, gluten-free popovers. So there's a few tricks that I found out along the way to make these gluten-free, to make them where even I'm happy with them. And I know Beverly and her daughter will be too. So I preheated my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I have sprayed a popover pan, not a muffin pan, a popover pan. It's super deep and they're a little bit further apart than a typical muffin pan so that they can grow. And remember, anything that's gluten-free has trouble rising and keeping that structure high. So we're going to try to work around it, and I got some workarounds for you. So we're spraying that with nonstick cooking spray and setting it aside. Make sure your oven is preheated for 15 to 20 minutes ahead of you starting to bake. Now, if you notice, I have a whisk, but I also have a blender here. What am I doing with a blender? What I found out with gluten-free flours, they're very starchy, and liquids can stick to them and make a lot of lumps and bumps and things that don't taste as good. So when I made it in a blender, it was super smooth, sort of like a pancake batter or a crepe batter. And that's what I was looking for. The other key to gluten-free flour was the flour. I have used many gluten-free flours that have certain flours in them. I didn't care for the taste. So I found one, and I don't normally mention brands, but Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour. I had incredible results because it has a lot of rice flour and it has some brown rice flour and potato starch and some other things. Really worked very well. So I recommend this flour. So first I'm going to do my dry ingredients. I'm going to whisk them because we are also using another ingredient called xanthan gum. And that is a stabilizer that once our popovers rise because of the egg proteins, because eggs do rise in the oven, the xanthan gum will hold on to that structure and stabilize it and create a structure where the popovers stay high. All right, that's my next tip. So 2 cups of this Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, and then half a teaspoon of my xanthan gum, and it's a powder. And I really want to whisk that up. And I'm also going to put in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. All right, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. So it's usually about 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum per cup of flour. So I have 2 cups of flour, so 1/4 teaspoon plus 1/4 teaspoon is 1/2. So there I go. All right, so once that, and it's a little bit harder to whisk. It's not like my all-purpose flour for my regular popover recipe. So it's a little bit, you can see it's a little starchy. It sort of sticks to that whisk, and that's part of what gluten-free flour is. So I'm going to make sure that we get the batter just right. So in my blender, I have 6 large eggs, and I'm going to add 2 cups of whole milk. I like to use whole milk. If you want to use any other milk, use any other milk you want. I've had very good luck with whole milk. 6 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil. You can even use melted butter. I like the olive oil. 6 tablespoons. All right. And that's it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to blend this quickly. All right. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients two times. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to add two stage of the ingredients so that they don't get lumpy because of this starchy rice flour, this blend of flours that tend to be very starchy. So I'm going to add half. And I believe I tried this many times. I even used, one time I was in a hurry and I didn't even divide it into 2 and it came out great, nice and smooth. All right, so we're going to start it again. Just blend it. Okay. So you're getting almost a crepe-like batter. All right, now we're going to add the remainder. And if you have a few lumps and bumps, you don't worry about it. Because my popover batter, my regular, normal gluten popover batter that contains gluten, has some lumps and bumps occasionally. Okay? So we're going to put the remainder in, and we're going to whirl it around until it's nice and blended. Okay? Give it a nice whirl. Doesn't have to be for a minute or 2. Just make sure that it's smooth as you can make it. All right? And I'm going to stick my spoon in and go around. See how it feels. Does it feel smooth? Let's see. Yeah, pretty smooth. See it? Now I see another lump or bump. So guess what I'm doing? Going back to give it another whirl. You don't have to go nuts again, okay? So, okay? We're done. We are done. Now, because the blender already has a pour spout, I don't have to put it in a measuring cup, because I always like to put it in a measuring cup. Okay, next tip. These are going to make about 8 popovers. Sometimes I get 9 out of them. The key to a good high popover, and a lot of people make this mistake, they don't fill the popover pan high enough. I don't care if you're gluten-free. I don't care if you're gluten. You need to fill it at least 4/5 full, and I mean full. So we're going to go not quite to the top, but you're really going to fill it full. All right? And once you start baking, you don't open your oven. You don't open your oven. I don't care if you're a very curious person. You leave the oven closed, even if you don't have a window in your oven. Leave it closed. And you don't want to get any batter on the top or sides. And you don't want to use a muffin pan. I'm going to make this really, really clear. Get yourself a popover pan. They're not that expensive, and they work. They work. So I'm going almost to the top, 4/5, because, again, the eggs are going to help this rise. Remember, this is a steam-leavened quick bread. And then I'll bake the rest of this batter off later. Steam-leavened. And then once the egg proteins snap in the oven, because even they can't handle all the steam, you get this space inside. And you're going to get this beautiful, beautiful popover. And it will be a little cakier than a normal popover, but it will be delicious. So I'm going to bake these for 55 minutes. You are not going to look in your oven. You can put the light on, but that's it. See you back. My gluten-free popovers just came out of the oven, and look at these babies. Look at them. Woo! Big and hot. I have to put it back, but they are amazing. Beverly, your daughter, your entire family, and if necessary, your entire neighborhood are going to enjoy gluten-free popovers. You have made a believer out of me. Like I said, they're not going to be as maybe the same as the ones with gluten, but they're pretty amazing if you follow my tips. I hope you guys become subscribers. Until next time.